Sophie and this is my assistant Adam. Say hi, Adam.
Hi.
Today this learning experience is targeted at students accessing the Year 3 Australian curriculum. I know that Adam isn't a grade 3 student, although we will still use student-friendly language to ensure that this learning experience is authentic. Today we will be discussing living and non-living things. More specifically, we will be looking at whether or not fire is a living thing. What are your thoughts, Adam? Is fire a living or non-living thing?
Living.
So you think that fire is living. Why do you think that?
Because it can move and grow.
Just so I understand properly, you believe that fire is a living thing because it can move and grow, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so now we're going to examine this in more depth. First of all, tell me what makes up a living thing.
It needs oxygen and food.
Perfect. So I have a list of 10 special categories on the whiteboard there that classify a living thing. So to test whether or not a fire is a living thing, we will test each criteria on the board. In order to be a living thing, everything on the list needs to be ticked off. If there are any crosses, it's not a living thing. I've written each one of these criteria on the whiteboard for us so that we can keep a track of whether or not the fire checks all of the boxes to be a living thing. Adam, let's check and see what the criteria are. Can you read them for me?
Grow, needs oxygen, remove waste, need nutrition, can move, need water, DNA, reproduce, consents and cells.
Alright, to test the criteria, we will do some tests on these candles here. For this test, Adam, I'll ask you just to move back a little bit and keep your hands in your lap, just so we don't risk you burning yourself or anything. Let's begin our tests. Adam, what's the first thing on the list?
Grow.
Alrighty, do you think that fires can grow?
Yes.
Why do you think that?
Because in a bushfire it spreads.
Perfect. So that we know that in bushfire sensors, the fire gets really big and moves into different spots. So it does grow. We can tick that one off. Lovely. What's the next one on the list?
Needs oxygen.
Okay. What do you think? Does it need oxygen?
Yep.
Alright. So let's have a test. I'm going to put this cap on the candle. If it goes out, it does need oxygen. Alright. So it went out. So just like human beings, candles need oxygen, which means fire needs oxygen to stay alive. So we can tick that one off. Next one is remove waste. What do you think, Adam? Do fires need to remove their waste?
Yep.
How do they do that? Do they do it like humans?
Sort of.
How do they do it?
Smoke and ash.
Perfect. And what's the ash? Do you know?
Not sure.
Not sure? Okay, so it's the burnt up leaves and all the things that the fire catches onto to burn. That's what the waste is for fire. Next one, need nutrition. What do we think? Does fire need nutrition?
Yep.
Yeah? In the sense of a candle, what's the nutrition source for that?
The wick.
Perfect. So the wick is essentially the nutrition for this candle, yes. What about for a bushfire?
The leaves and trees.
Perfect. Lovely. So that's the nutrition there. Tick it off. What about can move? What do we think? Can fires move?
Yep.
Lovely. Let's test. So the fire is moving there. And in a bushfire, we know that the fire does move and jump around. Yep, so tick that one off. Next one. What's the next one, Adam?
Needs water.
Lovely. What do we think? Does a fire need water to stay alive?
Probably not.
Probably not. Let's test that theory. So I'm going to pour some water onto this candle. If it stays alight, then it needs fire to keep on going. Alright, what happened there?
Went out.
Lovely. So the fire went out. So that means that the fire does not need water to stay alive. So we need to cross that one off. The next one is DNA. What's DNA, Adam? Can you tell me?
Is it from your parents?
Yeah. So for humans, DNA comes from one part mum, one part dad, which makes up us. For fire, there isn't a mum or a dad for the fire, so in fact it doesn't have DNA. It's not made up of anything and we can't trace who it comes back to. So no, it doesn't have DNA. Reproduce. Does fire reproduce?
Yeah.
In a sense of growing, it does reproduce, but in the human sort of terms, it does not reproduce. As you can see here, once we've killed it off, it can't come back alive. So in fact, it doesn't reproduce. Need to cross that one off. Next one, can you tell me what it is?
Consents.
Do you think that fire consents? Can you tell me what your senses are first?
Seeing, smelling, hearing, feeling, and something else.
Yeah, tasting? Yeah,
Tasting.
perfect. What do you think fire? Do you think fire can hear or taste or touch or smell?
No.
No, he can't. So it needs to be crossed off. Last one, cells. What are cells, Adam?
I'm not sure.
So they're the building blocks of life. So everything in your body is made up of cells. Do you think that a fire looks like us?
No.
So we know it doesn't feel like us, doesn't have DNA, so that in fact means it doesn't have cells either. It doesn't have a shape or a form that stays together like humans. So it needs to be crossed off. So remember at the beginning I said that for the fire to be a living thing you need to tick all these boxes, don't you?
Yep.
So did it tick all the boxes?
No.
No. How many did it not tick?
5.
So in fact, the fact that it didn't tick all the boxes means that fire is not a living thing. Do you understand that, Adam?
Yep.
Perfect.